Welcome to Corporate Finance Explained, where we break down the essential topics every corporate finance professional needs to know. This series is narrated by AI, created using CFI's expert training materials, and designed to help you stay ahead in the world of finance. Enjoy this week's deep dive.
All right, so get this. Today we're going deep on FP&A.
FP&A.
Financial planning and analysis.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, like crunching numbers and stuff.
Right.
This is all about like how to make businesses thrive.
Yeah.
Just like a good gardener helps their plants flourish.
Absolutely.
We've got a stack of like articles and research and case studies about this.
Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, and we're going to like pull out the good bits and try to give you these aha moments.
I love it.
That will make you feel like a finance whiz in no time.
That's the goal.
Get ready for some real-world examples from companies like Netflix and Starbucks.
Yeah.
And Amazon, like how they use FP&A to like stay ahead of the curve.
That's fascinating stuff.
So think of it as like getting a backstage pass
Okay.
to see how these giants make decisions.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay, so let's unpack this first big idea.
Okay.
Budgeting. But we're not talking about your grandma's old school set it and forget it budget.
No.
Right.
Definitely not.
It's got to be more than that.
It is. It's all about dynamic budgeting these days.
Dynamic budgeting.
Yeah. Companies are moving away from those rigid annual budgets and embracing what are called rolling forecasts.
Rolling forecasts. Okay.
So think of it like a tightrope walker's balancing pole,
Okay.
constantly adjusting to maintain that equilibrium.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's a much more flexible approach.
So give me an example. How does this actually work?
Okay, a great example is Microsoft.
Microsoft.
As they were transitioning to a cloud-based subscription model,
Okay.
think Azure, Office 365,
Yeah.
their FP&A team knew they couldn't be tied down
Yeah.
by a static budget.
Right.
They needed something way more agile
Okay.
and responsive
Yeah.
to this like rapidly changing market.
So what did they do?
They adopted a rolling 18-month forecast, updated monthly. Yeah, this allowed them to continuously adjust their budget based on the latest data,
Okay.
market trends, all that.
So for example, they see that, Azure adoption is like exceeding projections.
Right.
They can shift budget from something else.
Oh, yeah, from a less performing area.
And double down.
Double down on that success.
Okay. So they're basically playing a game of like financial Tetris.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving resources around.
It's about being proactive.
Yeah.
And responsive to the market.
Okay.
And it's a strategy that's clearly paid off for Microsoft.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at them.
They've been able to outmaneuver competitors like IBM and Oracle
Yeah.
in the cloud space by being more agile, adaptable with their budgeting.
So that's dynamic budgeting.
That's it.
It's all about flexibility,
Yeah.
adapting to change.
Absolutely.
What's next?
Next up, we have forecasting.
Forecasting, okay.
Yeah, this is where FP&A becomes almost like a crystal ball, helping businesses to predict the future.
Ooh, predicting the future. I like it.
Yeah, but of course it's not magic.
Right.
It's all about data.
Okay, so spill the tea. Who's doing this data-driven forecasting really well?
Starbucks is a great example.
Starbucks, okay.
Think about those long lines for pumpkin spice lattes every fall.
I do, every year.
Right. Their FP&A team probably saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, but like how do you forecast for something as fickle as, consumer taste?
They factor in everything.
Everything.
Foot traffic patterns,
Okay.
the cost of coffee beans, seasonal trends, social media buzz, even the weather.
The weather.
It's not just about looking at past sales.
Okay.
It's about understanding the bigger picture and anticipating those shifts in consumer behavior.
So they're taking all this data
Yeah.
and using it to create this, granular forecast that helps them optimize everything.
Everything from store operations to marketing spend.
It's pretty impressive.
It is. And it's what allowed them to successfully navigate the whole COVID-19 storm.
Oh, wow.
While other companies were scrambling.
Yeah.
Starbucks was able to quickly pivot their strategy because their FP&A team was already using data to anticipate potential disruptions.
So that's a great example of how data-driven forecasting can really give companies a competitive edge.
Absolutely.
Especially in uncertain times.
For sure.
So we've talked about dynamic budgeting, data-driven forecasting.
Yeah.
But like what happens when those carefully crafted plans, meet reality?
Well, that's where variance analysis comes in.
Variance analysis, okay.
It's about understanding the why behind the numbers.
The why?
Yeah, why did we sell less of this product than we predicted?
Okay.
Why did our expenses exceed the budget in this area?
I see, yeah.
All of that.
So it's about turning those oops moments into like valuable insight.
That is.
Right.
Exactly.
So who's doing this well?
When it comes to using variance analysis to drive strategic decisions, Amazon is in a league of its own.
Amazon?
Yeah, their FP&A team, they don't just shrug their shoulders when something deviates from the plan.
Okay.
They dig deep,
All right.
understand the root causes, and then they take action.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, let's say a new product isn't selling as well as expected.
Okay.
Amazon's FP&A team won't just, revise the numbers and move on. They'll analyze everything from consumer reviews to competitor moves and even potential supply chain hiccups. Anything that could be impacting it.
And then they use those insights to make real-time adjustments
Yes.
to pricing, marketing campaigns, even supplier contracts.
That's right.
It's like turning lemons into lemonade.
Exactly.
Or maybe like unsold inventory into a viral marketing campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty cool what they do.
It is. What's fascinating about Amazon is they view variance analysis not as a way to point fingers.
Oh, okay.
But as a way to continuously learn and improve.
I see.
They're constantly asking themselves, what can we learn from this? How can we do better next time?
Okay, so if we connect this back to you, dear listener, are you digging deep enough to understand the why behind your results?
That's a good question.
Or are you just skimming the surface? Food for thought.
Definitely.
Speaking of taking things to the next level, let's talk about the future of FP&A.
The future?
AI is entering the scene.
It is.
And it's a game changer.
It really is.
Hold on, I need to get my mind-blown emoji ready.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
AI and automation are transforming the world of FP&A.
Okay.
Making it faster, smarter, even more powerful.
All right.
Imagine having a team of superpowered analysts.
Okay, yeah.
Working 24/7.
That's a bold statement. Give me an example, like a concrete example.
Well, look at Google.
Google, okay.
They're using machine learning models to predict everything, from ad revenue to the optimal pricing for their cloud services.
So they're basically using AI to fine-tune their money-making machine.
Exactly.
And they're not alone, are they?
No, more and more companies are realizing the potential of AI to transform their FP&A function.
So AI in FP&A isn't just some futuristic concept.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
It's happening now.
And it's giving companies a serious competitive edge.
Absolutely.
But isn't there a risk that AI will like replace human FP&A professionals?
That's a great question.
It's on everyone's mind, I think.
And the answer is not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No, I see AI as a tool that can augment and empower FP&A professionals.
Not replace them.
Not replace them, no.
So how do you see the role of like the FP&A professional evolving?
I think FP&A professionals will need to become even more strategic.
More strategic.
In their thinking. Instead of getting, bogged down in spreadsheets.
Right.
They'll need to focus on interpreting the data, identifying trends, making recommendations to the business.
So they need to become like storytellers.
Yes.
Able to translate complex financial data into these compelling narratives.
That's it.
That drive action.
You got it. The future of FP&A is all about combining the power of data with the creativity and strategic thinking of, human professionals.
Human professionals.
It's an exciting time to be in the field.
It really is.
It's cool to think about how AI can really, free up FP&A pros to be more strategic.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, bogged down in the spreadsheets.
Right.
They can focus on those big picture questions.
Yeah.
Like, what are the biggest risks and opportunities facing the business?
Yeah.
Or how can we position ourselves for long-term sustainable growth?
It's like FP&A is evolving from this back office function to like a frontline strategic advisor.
Totally.
That's where the magic happens.
It is.
But let's take a step back and revisit some of the key takeaways from our deep dive so far.
That sounds good. Where should we start?
Well, first we talked about ditching those static budgets in favor of dynamic rolling forecasts.
Right.
It's all about being flexible. Adapting to change.
Absolutely.
We use Microsoft and their transition to the cloud as a prime example.
Great example.
Then we explored the power of data-driven forecasting.
Yes.
With Starbucks.
Yep.
They have mastered the art of predicting customer demand.
It's pretty amazing what they can do with the data.
It really is.
Yeah.
And speaking of data, We can't forget about variance analysis.
Right.
Turning those oops moments into opportunities for improvement.
It's huge.
Amazon's FP&A team is like a masterclass.
They are?
In using variance analysis to make those strategic decisions in real time.
For sure.
And lastly, we touched on the exciting world of AI and automation, with Google leading the charge using machine learning.
It's fascinating.
Optimizing everything from ad revenue to cloud pricing.
Yep.
So what does this all mean for our listener?
It means that the world of FP&A is changing rapidly.
It is.
And those who embrace these new tools and principles are going to be the ones who thrive in the years to come.
I totally agree.
As simple as that.
And that's why we're here.
Right.
To help you, the listener, navigate this exciting new landscape.
Absolutely.
And give you the insights you need to like level up your FP&A game.
Yeah, that's the goal.
But before we wrap up,
I
have one final thought to leave you with.
Ooh, I love a good cliffhanger.
Okay.
Lay it on me.
So we talked a lot about the technical aspects of FP&A, the tools, the processes, the data analysis.
Right.
But there's one critical ingredient we haven't mentioned yet.
Okay.
And it's something that no amount of AI or automation can replace.
Okay, now you've really got my attention. I'm on the edge of my seat.
It's the human element.
The human element. Okay.
At the end of the day, FP&A is all about people.
It is.
It's about building relationships, understanding your stakeholders, and communicating insights in a way that drives action.
You know, that's such an important point.
It is.
We can have all the fancy tools and models in the world.
Right.
But if we can't effectively communicate our findings and persuade others to like act on them, then what's the point?
Exactly. So as you're on your FP&A journey, remember that it's not just about mastering the numbers.
Right.
It's about mastering the art of influence, collaboration, and storytelling.
Those are skills that'll never go out of style.
There you are.
No matter how much the world of finance changes.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So with that in mind, should we shift gears a bit?
Okay.
And explore some specific strategies for like developing your communication and influence skills?
Yeah.
Are you ready to take your FP&A game to the next level?
Let's do it. All right, so we're talking about leveling up those communication and influence skills, you know, in FP&A.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin?
One of the most valuable skills you can develop is the ability to translate complex financial data into clear, concise, and compelling stories.
So it's like being a translator between the world of finance and like the rest of the business.
Exactly. Instead of just throwing numbers at people.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Right. Think about what those numbers mean.
Okay.
What's the story they're telling? What are the implications for the business?
Okay.
And how can you communicate those insights in a way that resonates?
Yeah, okay, I'm following you.
Okay.
But can you give me like a concrete example?
Sure.
Like paint me a picture.
Okay, let's say you've been analyzing the company's sales data.
Okay.
And you notice a concerning trend.
Uh-oh.
Sales for a key product line are declining.
Okay.
Now, you could just send an email with a bunch of charts and graphs.
Right. No one's going to read that.
Exactly. But that's probably not going to get anyone's attention.
Right. It's like a snooze fest.
Right. Instead, you could craft a story around that data.
Okay. A story.
You could start by like painting a picture of what's happening in the market.
Okay.
Maybe there's a new competitor stealing market share. Or maybe consumer preferences are shifting.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you could highlight the impact of this trend on the company's bottom line.
Right.
You know, lost revenue, missed growth targets.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So you're setting the stage, you're building that narrative.
Exactly.
Creating a sense of urgency.
Yes.
Okay. I like it.
And finally, you propose some solutions.
Okay.
Maybe it's time to invest in a new marketing campaign, develop a new product.
Right.
Explore new distribution channels.
So by framing your insights as a story, you're much more likely to engage your audience and inspire them to take action.
Exactly. It's like the difference between reading a dry financial report and watching a compelling documentary.
I like that analogy.
And another key strategy for becoming an FP&A influencer is to build your network.
Build your network.
Get to know people across the organization in sales, marketing, operations, HR.
Yeah, get out of the finance silo.
Exactly. Learn about their challenges and priorities.
Because the more you understand like the business as a whole, the more effectively you can contribute to its success, right?
Right. And don't be afraid to share your knowledge and expertise. Offer to help colleagues with their financial planning or analysis needs.
Okay.
You know, the more value you provide to others,
Right.
the more valuable you become to the organization.
It's all about building that reputation
Yes.
as a trusted advisor, a go-to resource
Exactly.
for financial insights.
And the more you invest in those relationships,
yeah.
the more influence you'll have within the organization.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to wrap up our deep dive into the world of FP&A,
Okay.
let's recap the key takeaways.
All right, let's do it.
First, ditch those static budgets. Embrace the power of dynamic rolling forecasts.
Second, master the art of data-driven forecasting.
Yes. Using real-time data to anticipate those changes in the market and the business.
Third, use variance analysis to turn those oops moments into opportunities for improvement.
Big ones.
And finally, embrace the transformative power of AI and automation.
Yes, but remember.
What's that?
Never forget the importance of the human element.
Human element. I like it.
FP&A is all about people.
It is.
It's about building relationships, communicating effectively, and using your financial expertise to drive strategic decision-making.
So go out there and be an FP&A superstar.
Yeah.
Use your skill and insights to make a real difference in your organization.
That's it.
And remember, the world of finance is constantly evolving, so never stop learning and growing.
That's it for this deep dive.
Well, that's it for today.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating world of FP&A with us.
Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Corporate Finance Explained. If you found this episode valuable, be sure to check out more episodes and explore CFI's highly rated courses at corporatefinanceinstitute.com. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into essential finance topics. See you next time.